During this lesson we're going to learn a technique for sketching isometric circles. Designers' work often has circles in it, so we need to learn a technique to help us draw effective circles. By the end of this lesson you'll have completed a drawing that looks like this. Start by drawing a line parallel to the bottom of the page, maybe about a quarter of the way up. Then you're going to draw a vertical line straight up from that horizontal line and use that intersection to draw a line up to the right at 30 degrees and up to the left at 30 degrees as well. This is the bottom part of the cube construction. Now I'm going to decide how long in each direction the cube will go. I've ghosted over the leading edge and I'm using that to get parallel lines on the left and the right hand side. Now I'm going to estimate the height, so it's the same, roughly about here, and I've ghosted over the bottom edge so that I get a parallel line running up to the right, and again ghosting over the bottom to get a parallel line up to the left. Next I'm just going to ghost over these two lines to make sure the back line is nice and even, and ghosting over here to make sure that the top of the cube is formed. The next part of the process is to draw diagonal lines in, so I'm just rehearsing that line a couple of times before I commit to it, as you can see. So diagonal lines, then I'm going to ghost over this line so that I get a parallel line running through the center intersection of those diagonal lines, horizontally and vertically, as you can see here. Now I'm using a technique where I split the line between the center and the outside corner into thirds. I'm just putting a little dot on each mark that's a third. Again, this is definitely just an estimate. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw each arc in separately. So it's coming straight off the line and going straight into the line, as you can see here, is the key point. Not heading directly to the final point or it won't work. These tighter arcs are a little bit more tricky, but as long as you come straight off and go straight on. And I'm using those outside third marks that I put on a minute ago just as a bit of a guide. If I don't go perfectly through the third mark, that's okay. We're just feeling what the natural curve for coming straight on and going straight off is. Once you've done that, you can just darken in those lines, as you can see here. Now I'm going to repeat the technique for the next surface. So again, just to go over it, I'd start by doing diagonal lines. Again, just rehearsing the line before we commit to it. Diagonal line to find the middle, and then ghosting over and drawing a line through the middle on the vertical and what's the horizontal at 30 degrees in this drawing. Again, repeating that where I estimate those thirds, so between the center and the outside corner, just putting a dot for the thirds to give me a guide when I do draw the four arcs in. So again, coming straight off and then going straight on to the line, as you can see here. That's probably the key thing to do, coming straight off and going straight on. And again, you can see just rehearsing that line before we commit to it. Straight off and straight in to that line. Okay, that's really the key. And that final tight curve, which are always a little bit trickier because it's a tighter bend, coming straight off and going straight in, so the two arcs meet without a kink in them. Okay, let's just repeat the process again on the top. So we've got three different planes going on. Diagonal lines, that first diagonal was already there from constructing the cube, and you can see I'm just rehearsing that line before I commit to it, ghosting over the right hand sloping line and ghosting over the left hand sloping line through the middle. And once again, as we know, just estimating points a third between the outside corner and the center, as you can see here, and they just give us a little bit of a guide. Again, come straight off and go straight on to those lines for each individual arc when we draw the quarter circle. Okay, coming straight off and going straight on, and always turning the page and using your hand a bit of like a radius. Okay, or a compass I should say, so we're using our hand like a compass. So again, going straight on and straight off. Now I'll just darken over the circles with a little bit more of a detail line to give the circles in isometric a little bit more impact. Once I've done that, I think I'll just join these circles up to make it more of a shape, if you like, just by drawing a larger arc and using the same technique, coming straight off and going straight onto each line. So here, as you can see, just coming straight off that 30-degree line and going straight on to that vertical line. And we'll just finish with that shape. What you can do is just put a title on this drawing as well. So just use a couple of parallel construction lines just to write in between so we can get some neat writing, and just title it Isometric Circles, as you can see here.